So it was the early 70s and I was home from school. And back in the day, when you only had 3 channels, it wasn't a lot of content. But everybody had that morning movie, right? So I'm home in my room, recently given a gift of a hand-me-down console Zenith black and white television, and I had a chance to watch the early morning movie that actually made its way to movie theaters about 10 years prior, Barefoot in the Park. The incredibly talented Jane Fonda, who I fell in love with as a young man watching that movie, and I've been a fan ever since, and I'm so glad she is still working. But it was Robert Redford who reminded me a lot of my father, a man's man, right? But truly a leading man. Well, he died today at the age of 89. And as I awoke and I saw that news, it just saddened me. Because you think these people are going to go on forever, and they don't. But they were such a big part of my life. People like Jane Fonda and Robert Redford, and that list just goes on and on. I put him in the category of a Cary Grant. Great dramatic actor, obviously could do comedy as well, an action hero at times, but he understood that Panavision lens and really how things can come to life on a movie screen. When he directed Ordinary People with Mary Tyler Moore, Timothy Hutton, and Donald Sutherland, I walked out of that movie saying, you know what? There are families that have issues in this world. That left a lasting impression on me, that movie. But you move through all of the great movies, The Sting, Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid, but truly one of my all-time favorites, starring another epic star who I fell in love with, and I have never stopped respecting her, Barbra Streisand, and The Way We Were. He really is one of Hollywood's last leading men. And Robert Redford, CBS Sunday Morning not too long ago, talked about, hey, I think I've done this long enough. He did go back to the silver screen one more time, but he did so much for the world outside of Hollywood, his beautiful Utah, and all of the things like Sundance that he has been a part of. But when I think of Robert Redford, I think of that soundtrack of my life, his voice, his movies, All the President's Men with Dustin Hoffman. Incredible. One of my all-time favorites, The Candidate, in which because of his looks, they decided to run him for office in California. And one of the most poignant scenes I've ever seen, and I think about it all the time during an election cycle, after he wins, he's in a back room and they're waiting for him to come out and give that speech. And Peter Boyle, the legendary actor who played Frankenstein in Young Frankenstein, and obviously Everybody Loves Raymond, was kind of like his campaign guru. And he says, well, come on, let's go. And Robert Redford says, well, now what do we do? Incredible, incredible talent, Robert Redford. But as we all know, time stands still for no one. But thank goodness for Turner Classic Movies, and thank goodness for his film library, because movies go on forever, even if our stars don't. We'll have much more on the life and legacy of Robert Redford tonight on Rob Pratte Tuesday night on Kdka. Have a great day, everybody. It's your Pratt Pack in the home studio in Monaco.